Hello everybody, hope everyone's doing great today. Appreciate those of you who be watching this video. Hey, and let's talk about Crash Course in Romance. This is a new show on Netflix. And basically what this show is about, we have this gentleman who's an instructor at this academy, and his specialty is mathematics. So after, these kids go to school, they go to this academy, and he kind of is like their tutor, but he tutors like a huge class, and he's like very famous because he's helps these kids develop their math skills so they can be able to take these tests so they get into colleges and improve their grades. And then we have our female lead. She works at a restaurant, but in her youth she could have played for the handball national team, but instead she quit and she helped raise her niece because her mom kind of abandoned her, and so she was forced to raise her niece. And it's kind of about the relationship between these two. They start out as somewhat enemies because of a misunderstanding, but then that relationship develops to something more. Hence, Crash Course in Romance. It also delves into the niece for this woman and her trials at school and the things she has to go through, and kind of like her relationship. She has a couple of boys who likes her and she likes them. So unlike sometimes I don't like, let's begin this. Sometimes I don't like about romance shows is the love triangle. I'm not a big love triangle kind of guy, and fortunately we don't have a love triangle in this one, especially when it involves the main couple. With the niece, you kind of do with the two boys who likes her, but it's not a very big thing. This is a romance comedy. It is got some very funny parts, but I kind of wished with this kind of show we didn't need. There's kind of like a subplot that's like a kind of really dark for this typical show. I mean, it's called Crash Course for Romance, so you're thinking it's gonna be a light kind of thing, a light kind of show with humor and laughter and stuff like that, and which 95% of it is like that. But then you have this other subplot they got where somebody's going around hurting and killing people and stuff. It's like, man, why do you have to have a subplot that's so dark? When they should have really handled, really touched more upon the subject of how much children should be dedicated to their education, which seems to be like the major theme of this. And I've noticed like how far parents should force their kids to go to these academies and schooling. I feel like it's kind of like a big subject over there in Korea right now. There's been a couple of shows that I've watched. This one, Crash Course of Romance, and then there's another one called Green Mothers Club that really touches on if parents are pushing their kids too hard on their education. It really seems like some of these kids go to school from like 8 a.m. in the morning to like as late as 8 to 10 p.m. at night, and they're constantly having to being forced to learn and having all this pressure on them to excel in school. And so this show really touches upon that. You have one girl in here she's so stressed out of it. She's getting stressed out about getting good grades in math that it's starting to drive her crazy, and she's wanting to she's so competitive that she's thinking about harming our niece of our female lead because she gets better grades than her. She's so stressed out where she can't focus on her math. And then we have another character who kind of dropped out of school because he couldn't handle the stress of being of the education, of excelling in his education. So the show really developed, kind of gets into that portion of the stress that these kids go through to make sure they excel in their grades, to please their parents, the pressure that the parents put on the kids to make sure that they're getting like top grades so they can enter into big schools. And so the subject's really like, what is the appropriate balance for these kids on their education where they're not so stressed out that they can't function properly in society. That seems to be like, one of the major themes of this. There's also another theme kind of between, the haves and have-nots. We see that the niece of our female lead, she's smart, but because her mom's just a restaurant owner, she's trying to get into the program to help her help her excel better and to be able to take these tests so she can get into college. But she's kind of forced out of this program from like the rich parents kind of thing. So we got that kind of injustice of the haves and the have-nots, and political pool that people can have over schooling or academy, or especially over this academy, and how money really talks and can really get you to places if you have it. So you kind of get that aspect of it. But this is mainly about, if you're a romantic and you're here, you want to see a good romantic comedy. It really is about our two leads and their relationship, and you do get some good laughs, but you do get those more serious topics. Personally, I think I wish they would focus more on the stress of these children, of these kids going to school, and try and succeed in school and please their parents, and also like maybe some of the more of the societal differences between the rich and the poor, and the struggles that each class have. And you do see this in here, like just because these people have money doesn't mean they don't have any stress, don't have any struggles. You actually see the struggles of these upper class people and the difficulties they have, as well as our female lead and how she's kind of like in the middle class. Kind of wish we would focus more on that and kind of throw out the whole guy going around hurting and killing children, and even like other grown-ups too. Like just for this kind of show, I thought that was too dark for this. Like they should just focus on the other one. We don't need a serial killer in the background type of thing. But that's my opinion. If please leave your comments and see what your opinion is about this. Personally, I really enjoyed this show. I thought the acting was fabulous. The way that they developed the relationship between our leads was fantastic. The side characters all were great. They had their own little character developments as well. So the writers did a very good job in developing all these characters. Fantastic writing. I really enjoyed it, except for that side plot there about the guy going around hurting kids, killing kids, and so forth. I kind of wish they would cut that out. So if you're new to the channel, which probably 99.9% of you are at this point, we give 3 grades. We rate these. We rate them as either highly recommend, which means like the vast majority of people who watch this will like it. Recommend, it's like 50% of you guys will like it, and recommend with caution is for like it's a really bad thing, really bad show, and only those of you who like bad shows will like this. Hey, so if you notice, they're all positive things here. I'm going to go to what's to say recommend. I would recommend this if this was on TV. Let's say if it wasn't on Netflix, if it was on TV, I was flipping channels and this came on, I would watch it again. Probably might watch it again. So I do recommend it. It's a great show. But I think it could have been better. If it didn't have that one plot with the guy killing people there, I probably would highly recommend this. But that kind of takes away from the show. It does add depth to it, but they could add more depth with the other storylines, I think, with like the more of kids handling the pressure from their parents to do well in school and such, which I do believe this seems to be a very hot topic over there in Korea. There's a lot of, like I said, it's at least one other show I can think off the top of my head called Green Mothers Club. I think that's what it's called. I probably just screwed it up. Anyways, but I also seen it in other Korean shows, so that it seems like they're really struggling to find a balance between the importance of education and not pushing kids too far in that direction. What's the right amount of balance between educating your kids or in not stretching them out where they're like suicidal and stuff like that. So yeah, I recommend this. Hope everybody has a great day. and I'll catch you later. Hopefully. Bye.